Welcome to part 3 of the Klaw scenario walkthrough. This is the villain phase section, which will unfortunately be split into two parts due to time constraints. But we're going to read straight through it and get to the end. Wait. Step 1. Place threat on the main scheme. The main scheme tells you how much threat to place on it in the acceleration field. Both underground distribution and secret rendezvous are one threat per player. At this step, if there is one player, place one threat. If there are two players, two threat will be placed. This threat placement can be added to in two different ways so far: an acceleration icon on a side scheme and an acceleration token. For each icon or token in play, add one more threat after adding the per player threat. For example, if there is one side scheme with an acceleration symbol and an acceleration token in a two-player game, you will first place the two per player threat on the main scheme, then add two more threat. Also note that while a side scheme's acceleration symbol can be removed by defeating that side scheme, acceleration tokens added to the main scheme cannot be removed by any means as of the recording of this video. Step 2. The villain and minions activate. When Klaw activates, he checks the form of each player identity in player order, starting with the first player. If the player is a hero, Klaw initiates an attack. If they are an alter ego, Klaw initiates a scheme. It is at this point you check for status cards on the villain. Check for stunned if they would attack, and check for confused if they would scheme, and remove the corresponding status card instead of carrying out the attack or scheme sequence. Spider-Man's Spider Sense and cards like Webbed Up and Nova ability are triggered here. Note that if Klaw is stunned or webbed up, Nova's ability and Spider Sense will not trigger because the attack and the initiation is completely replaced. Any minions engaged with you also activate at this step, checking your form to determine whether they will attack you or scheme against you after the villain's activation sequence is over. Step 2.1. Draw a face-down boost card for the activation. The activation, whether it is a scheme or attack, will receive a face-down boost card that will add to Klaw's corresponding base value, adding to ATK for an attack and adding to SCH for a scheme. Since Klaw's ATK has a star reminder icon, you check the text for the related ability, which reads, "When Klaw attacks, give him one additional boost card for this activation." So draw one face-down boost card as normal, then draw one additional boost card if and only if Klaw is attacking. If Klaw is scheming, only one boost card is required. Before you flip this boost card for a scheme activation, you can play Emergency. Step 2.2. The Defender step. After drawing the face-down boosts for an attack, the players can choose to defend against the attack by exhausting their hero or an ally they control. If the non-active player decides to defend an attack activation with their hero or ally, they will flip each boost card and resolve the effects of each boost ability and the effect of the attack. During this step, a player that exhausts to defend can play Expert Defense or Desperate Defense. Step 2.3. Flip the boost card. This step is where the active player or the defending player flips each boost card one at a time to read the boost field in the bottom right corner of the encounter boost card. With Klaw, two boost cards are flipped. Do not flip these cards over at the same time. Flip each card one at a time. Target acquired may resolve before you resolve any boost abilities on the card you just flipped, or you can wait to trigger it on the next flipped boost, if it has a boost ability. Otherwise, first, if there is a star icon in the boost field, resolve the bold boost ability on the card. Ignore any text above the black separation line. Remember, boost cards are not revealed so you do not have to resolve when revealed abilities or keywords, and minions will not enter play or engage you unless a bold boost ability tells you so. In the case that you flip over Weapons Runner as a boost card, place it in front of your play area engaged with you. As its boost ability tells you, put Weapons Runner into play engaged with you. Do not resolve the Surge keyword. Weapons Runner will attack you or scheme against you after the villain is done with its attack or scheme activation. If you flip Sonic Boom as a boost card, it creates a lasting effect which persists until the end of this attack. The entry for activation in the RRG is a bit unclear, so assuming that it is a broad term for a scheme or an attack, this effect should only exhaust your hero if Klaw deals your hero damage with its modified ATK. Second, add the number of red Triskelions to Klaw's base value. If this is an attack, add it to his ATK. If this is a scheme, add it to his SCH. Then discard the boost card. Step 2.4. Deal damage or place threat. If this is an attack activation, deal damage equal to Klaw's modified ATK value. If a hero is defending the attack, reduce the amount of damage dealt by that hero's defense value and deal the remaining damage to that hero. Retaliate will trigger before any forced effects. If you want to play Counter Punch after the attack resolves and Klaw has the Sonic Converter attachment, remember that his forced response will resolve first, so you will be stunned before you have a chance to play Counter Punch. But if you do play it, your stun status card will be removed. If an ally is defending this attack, all damage from that attack is dealt to that ally. Afterward, you may trigger Red Dagger before he enters the discard pile, or you may trigger Rapid Response on an ally that has been defeated and has entered the discard pile. If no character is defending, all the damage from the attack is dealt to the player identity that is resolving this activation. Note that there is a future card that breaks at this step, but we'll let the developers handle that. Again, Retaliate will trigger before any forced effects, and after the attack resolves, you may trigger Counterattack. If this is a scheme activation, place threat equal to Klaw's modified SCH value for this scheme activation. Step 2.5. Minions attack or scheme. Minions engage with the active player, attack or scheme according to your form. If you're in hero form, the minions attack. If you're in alter ego, the minions will scheme. Before the minion deals damage, generally you can trigger Nova. If the minion is defeated, its attack does not deal damage. When a minion attacks you or schemes, it does not get a boost card. To resolve the attack, deal damage equal to that minion's ATK value to the attacked player, identity, or ally. What happens if Tiger Shark attacks me and my hero has the Retaliate keyword? The answer is Retaliate will trigger first because it is somewhat like a constant ability. It gets priority, in this case, over Tiger Shark's forced response. So after Tiger Shark attacks a character with Retaliate, deal the damage from Tiger Shark's ATK, if possible, then deal the Retaliate damage to Tiger Shark. After that, give Tiger Shark a tough status card. If the minion schemes, place threat equal to the minion's scheme SCH value on the main scheme. If a minion schemes for 0, it still schemes, so Quake may trigger for a 0 scheme. Step 3. Deal encounter cards. A common question for this step is, in what order are the cards dealt? The RRG and the Learn to Play guides both give contradictory guidance here, so I will go over a method I think works best, since the rules need revising. Deal one encounter card to each player in player order. Then, if there are any hazard symbols in play, deal 1 extra encounter per hazard symbol, starting with the first player. For example, there are 3 hazard symbols in play in a 2-player game, and you have already dealt each player 1 encounter card. Deal 1 additional card to player 1 for the first symbol. Deal 1 more to player 2 for the second symbol. Finally, deal another card to player 1 for the third hazard symbol. Step 4. Reveal encounter cards in player order. This step will be covered in a following video. I will put a link in the description. It's quite a large step and I don't have time to fill the rest in here. Next video should be coming up in the playlist. I will make a playlist and there is a link. Thanks for tuning in. Oh, also let me know if I got anything wrong or if you have any questions.